Hey everybody. So in one of my cap space videos yesterday I talked about Winnipeg and how I'm a little worried about them for next season. They have all this cap space, nobody to spend it on, and they really didn't do anything during free agency except lose Paul Stastny. So I'm worried about Winnipeg next season, and I'm going to go into more detail now about why. But first, if you're a fan of the NHL or hockey, please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. There's something here for everyone, whether you're a fan of a certain team or if you follow the league as a whole like I do. There are videos that you're going to enjoy here, so please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Alright, so now let's get to Winnipeg. Now this is a roster based off of roster resource. What they have penciled in right now is Winnipeg's lineup. Winnipeg's was a 114-point team last year. They finished second in the Central Division, only behind President's Trophy winning Nashville. Winnipeg has a lot of restricted free agents right now that haven't signed yet. They have $20.6 million in cap space, like I talked about yesterday. A lot of that is going to be eaten up by when these RFAs sign, at least a good chunk of it. Jacob Trouba is going to get good money. Josh Morrissey is going to get good money. Adam Lowry going to get a raise. Marco Dano still a free agent. Brandon Tanev still an RFA, and Nick Paton still an RFA. They have a lot of guys to still sign. That's going to eat away a good chunk of that 20.6. But it doesn't. They lost Stastny out of this second line center spot, and they haven't really replaced him. Right now, Roster Resource has Brian Little penciled in as the second line center. I do not think Brian Little is an adequate second line center at this point. I think he's a third liner. He had 43 points last year, and he played the whole season, all 82 games. The year before that, he had more points in only 59 games. And the year before that, he had more points in only 57 games. His point per game totals really fell off last year. And he hasn't been over 50 points in the last 3 years. His highest in the last 3 years is 47. So I don't see Brian Little as an adequate second line center anymore. I think he's a third liner. So, Jack Roslovic, he's young. He's just a kid. But is he ready to move up and fulfill that second line center role? I don't know if he's ready or not. We're going to have to wait and see. If Roslovic becomes your second line center, then you move Little down to the third line center, and you can either move Lowry to the wing or move Lowry down to your fourth line center and Kopp to the wing. There's maneuverability in this lineup here, but they're still missing a strong second line center. And I'm worried about this team because of that. Last year they were dominant at home. They got Vezina level performance from Connor Hellebuck. I don't know if they're going to get that again. They still have a very strong defense. I will give them that. Their top 6 defense is very good. Assuming, again, this lineup is assuming they get all of these RFAs signed and they're in the lineup opening night. Trouba, Morrissey, great top pair. Byfuglien, Chiarot, over here is their 7th defenseman. They're decent on defense. I like them on defense. In goal, obviously they have Connor Hellebuck as their starter, and I guess they're going with Laurent Brossoit as their backup. When they brought him in, I really thought they were bringing him in to be an organizational third goaltender. He is certainly not a proven quality NHL goaltender. I thought Winnipeg was going to go after Robin Lehner to be the backup goalie. And seeing what he signed with the Islanders at only $1.5 million, I don't know why they didn't bring in Robin Lehner to be the backup. Because I do not trust Brossoit as the backup goaltender. And as we've seen in the NHL, backup goaltending is very important. You need to have a backup goaltender that can win you games and rest your starter. Your starter cannot play 70 games in a season. Even high 60s is pushing it. They just can't do it. If they do, they are almost always burnt out by the time they get to the playoffs. So you need to have a solid backup goaltender, and I don't think they have that right now. I also, Connor Hellebuck played at a Vezina level last year. I don't know if he's going to do that again. I'm not saying he's going to be bad or he's not going to be a good goalie, because I think he's a very good goaltender and he's here to stay. But I don't know if he's going to be at that extremely high level that he was last year. If his play just drops off a little bit, that 114 points goes down to, like, maybe around 100, just because of Hellebuck dropping off a little bit. Think of all the one-goal games that Winnipeg won last year, and think of how dominant they were at home. Home ice is what got them to 114 points. If they don't play that lights out and be that unbeatable on home ice, that number is going down. So I like their defense. Their top 6, even their top 7. Joe Morrow's fine as a 7th defenseman. Their top 7 on defense is fine, and they have Tucker Poolman as well, who can be a 7th or 8th guy. So I'm not worried about their back end. I'm very worried about their backup goaltender situation. Although Hellebuck is a very solid starter, but I think they needed a better backup than Laurent Brossoit. The big area that I'm worried is down the middle. Whether you have Roslovic at the second line center or Brian Little as the second line center, I don't know if that's good enough as to be a top 6 center in the NHL. Their wings are absolutely fine. Their top, especially their top 6. Wheeler, Scheifele, and Kyle Connor is a lights-out first line. That's incredible. Ehlers, whoever plays the middle, and Laine, fantastic second line. You've got a 40-goal scorer on your second line. That's fine. And then, Tanev's a very solid bottom 6 forward. Lowry, I really like Adam Lowry a lot. Very good, depth center and very physical. I really like Lowry. Matthew Perreault's still around. He's still a solid player. Good third liner at this point. They have some good pieces down in this bottom 6. I don't know what they have for depth. Their extra forwards are Nick Paton and Brendan Lemieux right now. That's fine. That's good. I think Lemieux should probably get a look on this 4th line somewhere. Just because of the toughness that he brings. They lost Matt Hendricks out of the lineup, and I think that Lemieux could replace kind of that style of play. I think that he's a guy that they should look in and maybe playing in this spot instead of Danault, or maybe just against certain opponents. If you're playing a tough team as opposed to a team without much firepower in the lineup, and maybe you dress Lemieux against teams like Edmonton and Calgary, who have pretty tough lineups. It's really the center depth that I'm worried about. And when I look at this roster, they're really one injury away from going from 114 points to out of the playoffs altogether. If somebody up here in this top 6 gets injured, they are in big, big trouble. I guess it's depth is the issue that I see with Winnipeg right now, and they did nothing to really improve in free agency. They didn't bring in any big names. Obviously, all of this changes if they had gotten Stastny back, because that drops Little to your third line center, Lowry to the 4th line, where I think Lowry is best suited as a 4th line center and a very good one. If they had gotten Stastny back, this team would have been all set. But now they're thin down the middle. They're thin up front in general, and I think they're one injury away. If Scheifele goes down for any length of time this year, they're done. If Wheeler goes down or if Laine goes down, they're in big trouble. They don't have the depth. and in my opinion, and they don't have anyone who's proven to be a second line center, because Little's not that anymore. He's 30 years old and he's starting to go the other way. He had a really down year last year. Points wise, I don't see him, resurrecting his career or anything, and all of a sudden putting up 60 points next year. I don't see it happening. I don't know if Roslovic is ready or not. That's something that only time will tell, and we'll have to see how he plays next year. Just depth is an issue, especially down the middle. And that $20.6 million in cap space, again, a lot of that's going to be eaten up by these RFAs who are all have asterisks next to their name here. But even if there's no one left to go get. All the big name free agents are signed. Anyone who's going to make a huge impact on a team is signed. Anyone who could possibly play in the top 6 is signed by now. So this is what they're going into the season with. Maybe they'll add some veterans, bottom 6 type veterans, maybe a Chris Stewart type, Daniel Winnick, somebody like that on a PTO or on a 1-year, really cheap deal. That could always happen, but again, that doesn't help their second line center spot. So I am worried about. They obviously, expectations now are through the roof after what they did last season, and I think that there's a strong chance that they don't live up to those expectations, and they have a significant drop off this season. And given the Blues being so much, well, it seems like they've improved a lot. We'll see. They were supposed to make the playoffs last year too, but given the Blues in that division getting a lot better, or presumably getting a lot better, Colorado is still a team right there on the rise. You've got to think that Dallas is going to be at least a little bit better. Winnipeg is not guaranteed a playoff spot next year. I mean, their division is too tough, and they've only got a few slots. I think when you look at Nashville, Winnipeg, Minnesota, St. Louis, Dallas, and Colorado, that's 6 teams that could all be a playoff team. Chicago is really the only one that I see out of the playoffs at this point for sure. And I mean, it would take a huge move for Chicago to get back into a playoff spot, I think. But if they pull off a Max Pacioretty trade or an Artemi Panarin trade, then maybe and then you would have all 7 teams in the Central potentially be playoff teams. That division is going to be a dogfight this year. But that's why I'm worried about the Jets a little bit. I think the division's very tough, and it's going to be hard to make the playoffs in that division. And I don't like their center depth. And this team screams of being one injury away from their season just imploding. And injuries happen in the NHL, and they happen a lot. So depth is so important, and you've got to have a team that can withstand those injuries. And looking at their lineup on paper, I just don't see a team with a lot of depth, especially down the middle. So that's just what I think, and that's why I'm worried about the Jets going into next season. I think people have very high expectations for them given what they did last season in 114 points and then going to the conference final. I don't know if they can live up to that again. I'm leaning, if I were making predictions right now, I would predict the Jets not to come anywhere close to 114 points. I think they would be a wild card team at best right now. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. Check out offthewallhockey.com. All those links in the description below. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you guys again for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.